Hello and welcome back. Today we're going to do a little bit of a different one. I have not serviced many of them, I serviced a couple, and that is the first micro rotor automatic watch, the Buren Intra Matic. This one is in very good original condition and on a T-saw strap of all things, fair enough. But what makes this cool is how thin it is, and that's frankly partly due to the design of the micro rotor. Very nice when you get a watch in the original case. Usually it's been taken fairly well care of. This is a snap-on case back. And here we can see the beautiful micro rotor, caliber 1280. So Buren came out with these. Hamilton made these under license, which are identical. Universal Geneva Paul Routers came out with the micro rotor as well. I believe that was a couple of years later or a year later, but they did have issues with patents, so they ended up paying Buren. They ended up paying Buren patent licenses. So the Buren was first out with it, and of course they've also made a fairly complex chronograph with the micro rotor as well. We'll do one of those another day, but today we have the caliber 1280 we're going to take apart and put back together. Very, very nice style on this, very cool watch. I wouldn't mind one of these, to be honest. It's just, yeah, it's very cool. So I'm going to take this apart in time lapse, and then we're going to put it back together in real time, and we can have a closer look at all the cool, wonderful features. I've fitted the capsules, and I can see that the balance moves freely. I'm happy to take that off and start putting the movement back together. So we have fitted the, so we're kind of just going to hold that in place for now. There's this little spring here, or a little ratchet here with a spring attacher that goes behind here. We'll go for one of the intermediate auto winder wheels. But we have the oscillating weight with a huge driving gear underneath. Goes with this intermediate wig-wag wheel that will engage with the two intermediate auto winder wheels here. So now we can plot the auto winder in place, like so. That has a couple of nice blued screws. Good stuff. This the bearing on this is in very good condition, which is nice. I'm just prepping the setting the screw, so don't forget that. That goes in here. Now we could fit these two intermediate winding wheels here. So the concept being that when this gear here engages with the intermediate, like wig-wag wheel in here, that will either engage with this or this wheel, and then we have a reverser wheel here that will allow for manual winding. That will go on top, but let's go under. Let me check. Like so, and then we have one more wheel here that engages with the ratchet later on. Let's fit the auto winder bridge. Let's make sure we get the right bridge here. There's quite a few different ones. Like with the gear train, I'm going to have a look under the microscope to make sure all the pivots line up. It's worth noting that you've got to have the wig-wag wheel up the right way. I had that the wrong way, that's why I wasn't turning correctly. That's now corrected. When the oscillating goes around, you see it engaging with the intermediate wheels there. Turn around. Very nice. That will be the intermediate wheel. This is the driving wheel for the ratchet engages here. And then this wheel here has a reverse system on it, so you can manually wind it. Very nice. Now I'm going to fit the barrel, and then we're going to flip the movement around and fit the setting and winding mechanism. Then we're going to turn it around again, and then we're going to fit the gear train. A little droplet of oil in here for the barrel. Like so. A little droplet of oil on the side of the barrel arbor. We already got the setting lever screw in place, so we don't forget that. And then we'll put in the barrel bridge. Like so. The ratchet wheel has a ratchet as well. That ratchet engages with this little spring, and the screw for that also holds the bridge in place. So that has a little step screw. We'll do that at last. And one has the spring with a flat bit under here that just tensions it towards the ratchet wheel. Like so. And we have the crown wheel here that has a core holding it down. And then we have the intermediate wheel that comes in the middle here. Okay. So it's left-hand thread on this one. So there we have them in place. Good stuff. I'm not going to fit the ratchet wheel until I've fit the gear train in place, otherwise you will block it for the second wheel. So I'm going to flip this around now. We're going to fit the setting and winding mechanism. The reason for that is that the second wheel, also the second driving wheel, is lower jewel is in this little bridge here, and if I was to fit the gear train without this in place, it's just not good. So it's better to fit the setting and winding mechanism in first. So I'll start with the sliding pinion. Then the winding pinion. The winding pinion teeth get a little bit of blue grease. Like so. Then we're going to get the stem. I'll put a little bit of blue grease on the surfaces of the stem. I don't know if you've noticed, but a lot of the parts on this movement are quite fine, so it's not massive. Take a little bit of care not to force anything or break anything. Now I'm going to fit the setting lever. That is held in place by the setting lever screw, which is on the other side. So that's the setting lever secured, a bit off camera there because it's a little bit tricky. That's good. Now I can fit the yoke. The yoke is the yoke lever is the lever that moves the sliding pinion like so, and that has a wire spring that engages with that. Comes in there. Spring, make sure that it slides down back onto the sliding pinion. And put a little bit of oil on the intermediate setting wheels here, or the post where they're going to go on, like so. So that's ready. Next we can fit the setting lever spring. The idea with the setting lever spring is so that it, when you put it in winding position, it keeps in winding position. so. Put a bit of brew grease on that to help the lever change position. That would be setting and winding. Good stuff. Now that's in place, I'm happy to fit the intermediate winding wheels. Not winding wheels, the setting wheels. So we have the intermediate hour wheel here. An intermediate wheel here. This is where the cannon pinion will come. As you can see, the cannon pinion is actually on what would be the center wheel, also the second driving wheel. And you see that pinion? I've only lifted it up so I can oil it. I will push it down in place, and I'm just going to come up from the other side. That's the intermediate wheel here. That's also the clutch wheel, also the cannon pinion. So there's also what we'd otherwise call the cannon pinion that comes on top of here, but there's no tension in that. The clutch is in this wheel, so a little bit of a different layout. There we go. Now I can fit the bridge that holds all these intermediate wheels in place, and also has the lower jewel for the second wheel that we'll put in once we turn this around. Got a couple of blue screws here as well. They might actually belong to the top side, I'm not sure. I think they are the same dimension as we have for the water winder bridge here. That would make sense. So I'm going to switch them around, because that's what I think is correct. I might be wrong. If not, it doesn't really matter, but it wouldn't make sense to have blue screws on the dial side of the movement. Let's see if they're the same thread and size. I think somebody has switched them around before. I might be wrong. Please comment if I am wrong. That does look correct to me. Now I'm happy to fit the gear train. I'll start with the second wheel here, which I can navigate underneath the crown wheel like so. Fourth wheel, and finally the escape wheel. I'll secure this under the gear train bridge. I really don't want to do that. I'll tighten it down before I've looked at it under the microscope. Now the gear train is in place, I'm happy to fit the ratchet wheel. Quite a nicely decorated ratchet wheel it is as well. Not too fancy, but not too shabby neither, just nicely done. So the manual winding on this is not very smooth, and I think that's thanks to the reverser wheel in here. Just general design on it is how it is. Right, I did a little mistake, and that was putting the third wheel upside down. It went in quite nicely upside down, so I didn't notice, but that's the right way around. I've wound a movement, and I've oiled the pallet. This auto winder mechanism, the reverser wheel, makes a bit of a grinding sound, but that's normal, that's just how they are. Anyway, let's see if the balance will move freely and the gear train will run. Alright, let's see. There we go. Ticking, that's a good start. Let's secure the balance bridge. And we have a ticking movement. How well it's ticking, we're going to find out now on the time graph. This movement has quite a nice dual micro regulators. This is for the beat error, and this is for the timekeeping. So I just adjusted the movement, settling, plus 1 second a day, dial down position. Let's turn the movement around, see what it does dial up. Seems to be gaining quite a bit, so it is dropping, so not good. Okay, I found that the regulator pin was a bit deformed, so I've straightened that up. And now it's dial up position. It's gaining 10 seconds a day. We turn it around to dial down position. It settles about -4, so there's still a bit of positional variation, but much better than what it was before. Put it on the side. It's absolutely acceptable, it's pretty good. So a lot of mucking around later, we finally got the movement together, got the dial on the hands. The winder is working. Manual winder is working. It's now did have problems that stopped overnight. I've added a couple of photos, and that was this wheel here. The spoke was bent upwards a bit, touching the ratchet wheel at a certain point, so it would jam the movement. I've reshaped the wheel in the staking set, just kind of bending it down a little bit to make it clear the ratchet wheel, so that's now working. But yeah, pretty cool movement. Not always the most fun to work on. I don't know why, but every time I get a micro rotor movement there, I'd import. This one's pretty good condition. It's not that, but there's always little issues and stuff to fix, so it always takes twice as long as usual. So you've only seen about half of the putting back together, if not less than that. It was a lot of back and forth and yeah, the stuff to sort out, like the pin on the regulator and whatnot. But very cool movement. A nice slim case, and it's a very nice example. Good condition. I wouldn't mind having one, but I don't need to work on another micro rotor straight away. So I'll put this to the side for the owner. The client will be very happy to get this back in working order. It was losing a lot of time, and now it should be a decent and good timekeeper. Very cool. Okay, until next time, hope you have a good one.